Do you remember the little old lady, Greta Rogers, who stood in front of the Phoenix City Council to complain about the disgraced former Phoenix Suns owner and his approach to building teams? If you don't, how about I refresh your memory?
Mr. Sarver has done nothing to improve this team in the 14 years he's owned it. He's never funded or bought, paid for 2 or 3 key players, which make any sports team, professional sports team, successful or on the road to success. He's so tight, he squeaks when he walks.
We should all be Greta, unwilling to accept teams and owners that won't spend the money to try to win. Owners that are obsessed with trying to lose on purpose in an attempt to get cheap players that can maybe help them win in the future, but most likely will lead them to some sort of continued mediocrity if you're not careful. That's why the Phoenix Suns are all in right now, and it's the right place to be. Did the first iteration of Matt Ishbia's experiment work? No. But that doesn't mean that you give up completely. He's made the Phoenix Suns a destination for NBA stars again. You don't throw that aside in hopes of draft picks making you sort of interesting over the next 5 to 10 years. You look at that and you use that to your advantage. You leverage that and you find a way to retool rather than rebuild. You have Devin Booker. You have Kevin Durant. The question is, would you rather have Bradley Beal or Jimmy Butler for the next 2 to 3 years? The answer is simple. You'd rather have Jimmy Butler. And if you have a way to trade Bradley Beal before the deadline, and you can get a player of Jimmy Butler's caliber, who may not be perfect, but could come in and help fix your defensive intensity and potentially your culture issues that have been in question, you do it. Because you won't be saddled with Bradley Beal, and you'll have a fresh start with a guy like Jimmy Butler, who has dragged the corpse of Miami Heat teams to the NBA Finals. Teams that were in the play-in that he dragged to the NBA Finals. Did he win? No, but look at the roster around him. And then look at what he'd have here in Phoenix with him as well. Why do they have to focus on retooling? Because rebuilds lose you franchise superstars. See Steve Nash. See Devin Booker in the future if you go down this path. You lose generations of fans. See 2011 through 2019, where Suns fans didn't come from that generation in most cases because they were terrible. Approaches like that are how you kill a proud franchise and ruin it as a destination for future stars. We saw it. We lived through it. And if it wasn't for Chris Paul seeing the importance of Devin Booker and what he could become, we'd probably still be there. Blowing it up should never be on the table for this franchise and Matt Ishbia as long as he's willing to spend. Let me tell you why. Dragan Bender, Josh Jackson, Alex Len, DeAndre Ayton, Marquise Chris, Markieff Morris, Kendall Marshall. I've been there. I've done that. I own too many of the t-shirts and I have the emotional scars to prove it. The same fan base that spent a decade and a half complaining about not having an owner willing to spend and not having the ability to attract free agents to the Valley now has 2 factions. One that wants to win at all costs and do whatever it takes to retool around Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. Whatever it takes to bring Larry O'Brien to the Valley. Whether it's trades, capital, money, whatever the case may be, they want an ownership group and a front office that's all in. And then there's the other side. The group that wants to be hopium dealers. The ones trying to give you the fix of the sweet, sweet ping pong balls that may or may not fall your way. And even if they do, you may wind up with a generational bust on your hands and no winning. That's not the path to go down. We all need to be a little bit more like Greta and a little bit less worried about what's going to happen in 2031. Give me an ownership group and a team that's willing to do whatever it takes to win any day over an ownership group that wants to tank and hope that the basketball gods smile on you in the draft lottery. Give me an ownership group that will go after Jimmy Butler. And if that doesn't work, we'll try to figure out a way creatively to get the next group of players in here to try to win at the same cost. Do it for Greta, because the last thing we ever want in Phoenix again with any of our sports teams is an owner who
so tight he squeaks when he walks.
We all silly like the mayor.